Chapter 4, Tenochtitlan, City of Wonder, a lakeside paradise. The first Europeans who came to America did not expect to find a great civilization. Imagine how surprised they must have been when they came upon the city of Tenochtitlan, with its towering pyramids and its population of perhaps 200,000. The big question: what does the description of Tenochtitlan reveal about the Aztec civilization? The vocabulary includes two words. Both of them are nouns: causeway, which is a raised road built over water to connect islands to a mainland. Some of you may have seen causeways when you've been on your travels. And canal, a channel dug by people used by boats for irrigation. Tenochtitlan was more than the heart of a great civilization. It was unlike anything the Europeans had ever seen. The city was built on an island in the middle of a lake. 3 causeways connected the city to the mainland. A network of canals linked different parts of the city. The Aztec traveled around their capital in canoes. Here's a city tour. Imagine that you have hopped into a canoe to tour Tenochtitlan, as it was in the early 1500s. First, you see the gardens on raised beds built on Lake Texcoco. The Aztec created these gardens by digging up mud from the bottom of the lake and piling it up in shallow areas. Then they shaped the piles into long, narrow gardens. The gardens were surrounded by water, so they stayed moist. The Aztec also kept the soil fertile by scooping new mud onto the gardens every year. The rich soil was perfect for growing corn, squash, and beans. Here the caption says the gardens that surrounded Tenochtitlan appeared to be floating, but they were really built on the bottom of the shallow waters of Lake Texcoco. Aztec home life. As you glide toward the center of Tenochtitlan, you see Aztec men dressed in loincloths and cloaks. Women wear long skirts, blouses, and ponchos. You also see hundreds of one-room houses with thatched roofs and mud walls. Inside one, you meet a girl who is learning to weave from her mother. A few houses away, mothers and daughters are preparing for a wedding feast. During the wedding ceremony, the bride's blouse will be tied to the groom's cloak. This tying together is a symbol of the connection between a husband and a wife. The lives of Aztec women usually revolved around caring for the family. Suburbs and schools. You also visit an Aztec school. There, boys receive moral instruction, rules about right and wrong, ways to behave. They also learn military drills. The boys practice with miniature weapons. They throw spears and carry special wooden clubs studded with sharp pieces of a natural glass-like rock. A visit to a school for the sons of Aztec nobles turns out to be a hair-raising experience. You quickly realize that the teachers in this school are Aztec priests. You've had some tough teachers over the years, but you've never had one who painted his face black, did not wash his hair for religious reasons, and performed human sacrifices. The priests train their students to become priests and scribes. Students study Aztec religion and astronomy and learn how to read and write Aztec hieroglyphs. A scribe is a person whose job is copying written information. They also learn how to record information in a special kind of book called a codex. This is a long strip of tree bark that folds up like an accordion. The pages of the codex are covered with pictures and pictograms. The priest explains the codices, that they are used to keep lists of rulers, to record payments made by conquered people, and to keep track of religious holidays. Here's a picture of Aztec boys were raised from an early age to be skilled and fearsome warriors. Now the market. The next stop on our tour is the Central Market. Here, people trade cacao, chocolate beans, and cotton blankets for other items. The sound of thousands of Aztec people trading creates a ruckus that can be heard a mile away. In one corner of the market, a man is trading rabbits, deer, and small dogs that are bred for food. Across the way, a woman displays pottery. You notice all sorts of other goods, including sandals, feathers, seashells, turkeys, wood, corn, bananas, pineapples, honeycombs, and fabric. The Codex was an ancient book with handwritten pages or parts, and a pictogram is a picture or drawing that stands for a word or phrase. One section of the market is set aside for trading enslaved people. Here you see human beings with wooden collars around their necks. Noblemen mill around inspecting them. Tenochtitlan had a thriving market where people traded goods from around the empire. The Ceremonial Center. In the heart of the city is the Ceremonial Center. Here you find the largest temple in the city, the Great Temple. This massive pyramid is almost 100 yards wide at its base. That's roughly the length of a football field. It rises almost 90 feet in the air. The top steps are stained with blood of human sacrifices. Surrounding the Great Temple are several smaller temples. Each of these is dedicated to a different god. Not far from these religious buildings stands the palace of the Aztec emperor. You will have to admire the palace from the outside. Commoners are not allowed to enter. The palace has hundreds of rooms and more than 1,000 servants. Here's some more vocabulary. Litter, it's a noun. It's a chair attached to two beams and carried on the shoulders of several people. And reign, that's a period of time in which a king or queen rules. Now we're going to talk about Montezuma. Montezuma, it's sometimes written this way, was the Aztec emperor in the early 1500s. In the court of Montezuma II, no one was allowed to look the emperor in the eye. When he entered the room, even the nobles threw themselves face down on the ground. When he left the palace, he was carried in a fancy litter. When Montezuma wanted to walk, nobles laid mats on the ground so he would not dirty his golden sandals. Montezuma was a powerful leader, but during his reign, some disturbing things were happening. There was a drought, a comet appeared in the sky, lightning struck one of the temples in Tenochtitlan. Fantastic rumors began to spread. Some people said that a ghostly woman was walking the streets of the capital at night, and she wailed, "My children, we must flee far away from this city." The Aztec believed the world might end at any moment. Montezuma and his priests worried that the strange events might be a warning from the gods. They feared that the end of the world might be near. As it turned out, a form of doomsday was coming, but it was not coming from the gods. It was coming from across the Atlantic Ocean. Spanish soldiers were sailing from Europe in search of riches and glory. In the final chapter, you will learn what the arrival of these pale-skinned men meant for the mighty Aztec Empire.